Movie buffs, welcome back to the Movie Bay. This is D. In today's video, we are going to take part in the Red Nines Community Challenge, the 9 movies that made me. Oops. The 9 movies that scared me. The 9 movies that made me, that was their last community challenge. I'm not sure if it was their first one, but that was their last community challenge that I remember that I took part in. So this new community challenge is the 9 movies that scared me. So now horror is it's probably my favorite genre. That and action movies, but I got a lot of horror movies, and only picking 9 was tough. So what I did was I picked 9 movies they wasn't just scary, but these movies kind of messed with me a little bit psychologically too. And some of these are movies I saw when I was a kid, when I was very, very young, and they hit. And I'm going to base this off of how they got me when I was a kid, not how I see those movies today. So when I picked these movies, I thought about the emotional state that I was in at the time when I saw the movie. And I do believe I selected 9 really good movies that scared me. So with that being said, a lot of the newer horror movies aren't on this list, like none of the Conjuring stuff, even though there's a lot of movies in that universe: Annabelle Creation, The Conjuring 1, The Conjuring 2, a lot, Sinister 1 and 2, The Ring, some of the Grudge movies, a lot of great horror movies that didn't make the cut because it's 9 movies. Again, very tight list. So I picked 9 movies that was not only scary, but they kind of got in my head a little bit. And I'm when I say got in my head, I'm going back to the time when I first saw the movie. So let's dive in, because I know, some people, not a lot. You guys are pretty good with this, my audience, but a lot of times when you make a list, there's always somebody in the comment section, well, where's this? Where's that? Blah, blah, blah. It's 9 movies. How many horror movies are there? Thousands, probably millions. It's 9 movies. So that's what it is. And it's my 9 movies. So let's dive in. Starting with, I reshuffled these. Oh gosh. Okay. I had them in order, but okay, here we go. Starting with 2014's The Babadook. And what I liked about this movie was it was scary. Of course, it was very scary. But it was a good movie, meaning it had a great story to it. It had a lot of emotions to it. When you watch this movie, you could feel the hurt and the anguish that this woman was going through. And that hurt and anguish gave way for a creature like the Babadook to manifest itself in her life. She was going through a lot. I mean, this poor woman, but you could feel her pain. The actress, I don't know who she is, did a fantastic job in this movie. This is a good movie. It's called The Babadook. It came out 2014. It's a scary movie, but it also got a great story, and there's a lot of emotions in this movie that you can actually feel on screen. Next up, we have a newer movie. This movie, and the reason why I think this one made the list was it was a really good movie, but it also hit me. It came out of nowhere. I didn't hear no promotions on it. I didn't see any trailers for it or anything. It just came out of nowhere. Me and my wife was looking on one of the streaming services for something to watch, and we just said, okay, let's check it out. And man, was we surprised, because it was really, really good. And that's Smile, 2022 Smile, a really good original horror movie. I don't think I've seen anything like it. It was a really good horror movie. And the opening, as soon as the movie opened, it didn't take long, like maybe a minute or two before it started getting good. Really good movie. I really enjoyed that one. Next up is one that came out in 2018, and it was Toni Collette did an amazing job in this movie. I really do like Toni Collette. I think she's a great actress. She did a great job in this movie, and that's Hereditary. Man, what a good, solid, this is what you would call a rock-solid horror movie. It's got a lot of things going for it. Fantastic, but what really made this movie stand out to me was the end scene in the clubhouse. Man, look, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. That scene in the clubhouse, whew, this is a good movie. And that scene in the clubhouse is creepy. And when I think about it and talk about it, I just remember how creepy that particular scene was. Hereditary. Fantastic movie, guys. I'm telling you. Next up is one from 1989. And this is a movie. Okay, it's Pet Sematary. Now, this is the Stephen King collection. It's in here. Pet Sematary, the original Pet Sematary. That movie was scary back when I first saw it, the cat church was just, the movie was scary, but I tell you what, the book is even scarier. Well, I think a lot of horror movies, the books, I really don't see a lot of horror movies that come from books where the movie is better than the book. It might happen every now and then, but most of the time the book is gonna, reading books and watching movies, they put you in two different mind spaces. Reading a book, most of the time when people read books, they're reading books alone, so they can focus on the book. You don't have the TV on. Well, I'm not going to say you, but a lot of people probably wouldn't have the TV on. They're not playing on their phone. They're not listening to somebody else do whatever they're doing. They're in that book. And when you're in a book, you are in a totally different mind space. A really good horror book will hit you a lot different than a good horror movie. I'm just trying to tell you. Pet Sematary, the movie was good, but I'm trying to tell you, if you haven't read the book, read the book. The book is just wow, okay? But anyway, what made this movie so scary and so good was watching it as a kid, it did hit in a scary way, but rewatching it as a grown man with kids, it hit even different, because seeing that little boy hit and taken away from his parents in that way, and the anguish that those parents was going through, and they thought they had a shot to bring him back, and it didn't turn out right. So as a parent, yeah, if I was in that situation and I thought that this would work, I would do it too. So it's a lot of raw feelings with Pet Sematary if you're watching it as a parent versus if you're watching it as a kid. That's my take on Pet Sematary. Fantastic movie. It was good when I saw it as a kid, but rewatching it as an adult, it was scary, but it hit a little bit different. Next up, we got 1989's Pet Sematary. We're going to move on up to 1992. We're going to go with Candyman. Tony Todd did a fantastic job in this movie. I really think that this movie was so original. It was, where do I start with this? First of all, you had a black dude as the main guy in a horror movie. That's that up until this point, I don't think there was a black lead in a horror movie, a legit scary ass horror movie. And again, that's for me. That's something that I liked about the movie right off the rip, because it was a really good horror movie. And to see a black lead in it, I enjoyed that. But it was, again, put that aside, it was a great movie. Race aside, it was a great movie. But as a black dude myself, I really enjoyed seeing a black dude as a lead in a horror movie that I enjoyed, that a lot of people enjoyed. This was a good horror movie, not just for black people who watched it, but for everybody who watched it. The stump, the bloody stump, the hook, it looked all rusty. The nails that was in the stump, the coat, the voice that he used, the music that they played, the film, and everything about this movie was incredible. It was so scary and so creepy, because the way Candyman manifested itself from just standing in a mirror and saying his name 5 times, it had me creeped out going into the bathroom, because what's in most bathrooms? A mirror. I'm trying to tell you, this movie was scary and creepy as hell. Fantastic. I enjoyed it. I think Tony Todd did a great job in this movie. Too bad the movies that came after this one wasn't any good. Even the movie with Peele that Peele did, I thought it was just okay. Again, 1992's Candyman. Next up, we're going to move to Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984's Nightmare on Elm Street. The original Nightmare on Elm Street introduced the world to Freddy Krueger, and man, we haven't looked back since. This movie, watching it today, it's not the scariest one in the franchise. Well, maybe it might be, but it doesn't hold up as well. It's still a good horror movie. I prefer 3 out of all of them, including this one. But the reason why I put the original, well, this is the 7 movie, so they all here. But the reason why I put the first one there is because it's the first one I saw, and I was very, very young when it came out. And Freddy Krueger scared the living hell out of me for months after this movie. What do you want? All right, I'm going to show y'all guys my new co-captain here. Come here, you. This is Finney. Finney is my new movie critic. Finney is going to be growing up on the channel. Say hi to everybody, Finney. Say hi. Oh, mwah. Okay, that's Finney. Next up, we got 1979's The Amityville Horror. The Amityville Horror, man, I saw this as a kid, and the whole movie was incredible. I saw the remake with Ryan Gosling. I didn't like that one. Well, no, not Ryan Gosling. I'm sorry. I get those two guys mixed up. Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. I get him and Ryan Gosling mixed up. I didn't care too much for it. I thought it had a couple of scenes here and there, but I didn't like it. This one, I'm trying to tell you, this one right here, there's two scenes in particular that really stand out to me and get my goosebumps up. The scene with the priest in the bathroom with the flies, and on the remake, that scene, they remade that scene, but it had no impact. The scene with the priest in the bathroom and it, all the flies, and then the door opened and it told him to get out. Watch this one, then watch the Ryan Reynolds remake. The scene had no impact whatsoever. And also one of the last scenes in the movie where old girl discovers the gateway to hell down in their basement, and her voice changed, and she was like, "It's the gateway to hell." Yo, watching that as a kid was scary as hell. So that's why I put the Amityville Horror on there. It has some great scenes to it. Probably not the scariest movie overall, but it was a banger. Trust me, it was a banger. There's a lot of different Amityville movies. It's probably like 20 different Amityville movies. And I'm trying to tell you, this is the one. Next up, we got number 2. We got 1973's The Exorcist. Don't really need to explain this movie. I don't really need to get into it. We all know what this is. This set the standard for horror movies. This movie gave horror movies, gave that genre respect. Just like the MCU gave credence to superhero movies. Okay? Again, Batman 89 did its thing, Blade did its thing, but it really wasn't until that MCU started popping like that, and then the Christopher Nolan Batman movies started coming out, where superhero movies really started getting their shine. It's always a jump-off point for a genre to catch fire, and this is the jump-off point for horror movies. Yeah, horror movies before this, but this, I'm trying to tell you, this is the one. Next up, now again, yeah, I would say, yeah, definitely. Next up, number 1, this movie, I put this number 1 because it was a scary movie, and it scared me as a grown man. Excuse me. Not a lot of movies legit scare the hell out of me as an adult. Now, I watch horror movies. I love horror movies, and I can say, wow, that was a good horror movie. I really enjoyed it. It scared me, and that's it. Like Annabelle Creation. That was a great movie. I thought it was scary. I'm like, wow, this is really creepy. But when it was over, it was over. That was it. This one. This one. 13 Ghosts. Look, this movie is scary as hell. I don't know how to describe it. I seen movies that was more. I don't know how to explain this movie. It was scary. It was so disturbing. I was at home one night alone watching this movie. When it first came out, I think I rented it from like Blockbuster or something. And I was watching this movie at home alone. And man, listen, let me tell you. I think my wife was at work, or her and the kids was over at my mother-in-law's house. Something like that. But I was watching this movie alone. And man, this movie was so scary. The ghosts were scary as shit. But not only was the movie itself scary, the ghost, the ghost that the way they did the ghost was crazy in this movie. The house with the glass and how it turns, and just everything about this movie had me on edge watching this shit. I'm trying to tell you, I was watching it at night. And then I watched the special features. After the movie went off, I wanted to see the special features because I was big in the special features when DVD first started popping because it was something new. And I watched the special features, and that had me even scarier than the movie because they gave the origin for each ghost. Each one of the main ghosts, they gave their origin, and they did a great job narrating it. I think it was shot in black and white, so that added a little extra. It was real grainy, and they was running down the origin for each ghost, how they came about. It was so scary and so creepy. 13 Ghosts is on this number 1 to me because this movie legit scared me and made me pretty uncomfortable as an adult. Made me uncomfortable. I've seen, like I said before, guys, I've seen scary movies as early as last year that was really good, but they wasn't disturbing to me. 13 Ghosts was a disturbing ass movie to me. So that's 9 movies that scared me. That completes the Rad 9 Community Challenge, the 9 movies that scared me. Stay tuned. I'm going to do my my October watch list for Halloween, my Halloween special. And we're going to be back to regular content. Again, I'm not going to be doing no pickups until a little bit later, but we're going to get back to regular content. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.